Keeping the Flow podcast, hosted by Jason and Chad.
This podcast is sponsored by HydroVerge, powerful innovation saving time, money, and effort. Cordless, safe, efficient solutions made for field crews built to last. Contact them at hydroverge.com.
Hello again, Chad. How are you?
Hey, great, Jason. How's it going?
Back for another episode of Keeping the Flow here.
Yeah.
It's going good. Trying to get, things, the year is going fast.
I was talking to my neighbor yesterday, and my wife too. She brought it up, and she's like, "Where did summer go?" Like, I have no idea. But we are waiting for the kids, patiently waiting for the kids to go back to school.
Yeah. We went to which I'm getting ready to post it. It's going to be like a video, so it's more like a YouTube video than it is a podcast. But went to a mud event this last weekend down in Taylorville. So it was at the ATVs. We took the ATVs down to Taylorville and kind of made a spoof clip of interviewing people of why water is important to them, and then got some video of the mud, because what you wouldn't have mud without water, right? So
No mud.
my buddy who was with me, I told him he was filling in for you, kind of. He talked a little bit, but we were on a mission to find quality water, so turned it into a little bit of a, we had some fun with it. It was good. So hopefully we'll be putting that out, and we're still continuing to get people coming in. Today's recording is going to be with Mark Beck, and he's going to be talking with Invicta Water. And they have a solution to one of the biggest things in the water industry right now, one of the biggest problems, which is PFAS. So they have some technology and a solution to eliminating PFAS in water. So that is going to be very interesting. I hope. I've got a lot of questions, about this technology, and a lot of it is going to be proprietary too. So I'm not sure how much you can get into the true technology.
Are they little mini robots with freaking lasers on their foreheads?
It might be. It might be. I'm not sure what it is. So
That'd be cool.
yeah. So that'll be. It's going to be a very good podcast, and I think everybody should definitely tune in. To catch it.
Yeah. So if anybody knows anything about PFAS, is you can't get rid of it. So apparently they found a way to get rid of it. So that's pretty awesome. Looking forward to this one. It's pretty cool.
So it's going to be a great interview, I think. Hey, before we dive into this interview with Mark, I want to also do a shout out to our sponsor, HydroVerge. They have tools like the Hydrant Buddy. That's that lightweight cordless valve exerciser. For good quality water, we all know that you have to have a good flushing program within your city. So this can aid in that. It can help with opening those fire hydrants with ease. Maybe help with a risk of an injury to an employee for opening too many hydrants, or maybe a stuck hydrant. They also have that curve cutter, which is a patented system that lets you repair broken valve box top sections in about 10 minutes. So it cuts out the material around the box, and you're able to change out broken valve box tops quickly. Again, that's HydroVerge. Check them out. If you haven't checked them out on the internet, it's HydroVerge.com, hydroverge.com. So welcome back to another episode of Keeping the Flow. I'm your host, Jason Upton, and with me today is co-host and great partner in this, Chad Johnson.
How y'all doing?
So today, Chad, I'm excited about this guest. I've heard what he's talking about. They got a new technology. I don't know if it's new, but they have a technology that removes PFAS in water. So,
Okay.
Real exciting. That's a problem that's troubling us in today's water industry. PFAS. It's a big one.
Yeah.
So,
welcome, Mark Beck, Invicta Water, forward-thinking water treatment company at the forefront of tackling one of the industry's most urgent challenges, and that is PFAS contamination. So with over 2 decades of experience in environmental technology, infrastructure solutions, and public-private partnerships. Mark leads with the vision for cleaner, safer, and more sustainable water systems across the country. Invicta Water has developed and deployed a revolutionary PFAS treatment solution that goes beyond traditional capture-based methods. Invicta's proprietary system not only removes PFAS from water sources, but also destroys the chemicals on site, eliminating the need for hazardous waste disposal. It's a true game changer for municipalities and utilities alike. So not little robots with lasers on their freaking heads.
You're right.
So maybe
So
we can get into it and find out exactly what they do.
Yeah, it's thanks for having me, guys. Steve Wilsinski and Jason Taylor are the two co-founders. I came on a little later,
Okay.
but I've been working with them for 5 years and kind of heading up business development and working with through the government. So known them for a long time. Followed their story before they even started Invicta Water. You know, the kind of parent company is BN Nano, which is boron nitrite nanotubes that they've created. It has an immense amount of applications, not only in water, but in material science in general. And Steve and Jason are both material scientists background, helped develop the LED light in their past career. So two very, very smart guys. Their chemistry knowledge is far beyond most, mine included. So yeah, that what they've done, and it hit home, guys, with just a little personal story with Invicta. Steve's sister died a couple years ago of breast cancer, and kind of the cancer she had, she was in and around Air Force bases her whole life. Her husband served, and the doctors had a tendency to lean towards some type of toxicity, and she is exposed to PFAS and other things. So that's what really put Steve and put the water in the forefront over all the other opportunities for the boron nitrite nanotube. So it means a lot to him personally, well as for the environment, but just for people in general.
and then how did you get involved with it, Mark? Were you friends with Steve or?
Yes, they again. I told you they're material sciences. Before they got started the water company, I was the executive vice president of business development for True Velocity. We're a polymer cased ammunition company doing a lot of work with the government that we're replacing brass case with small arms ammunition with polymer. And the boron nitrite nanotubes that we use in the water was also relevant in our polymers, helping to increase strength, tensile strength, tube strength, different things like that. So that's how I got to know them. We became close, talking weekly, if not every 2 weeks at the minimum. As we got further along with what we're doing with the polymers, he started talking about this potential water idea. And I said, Steve, you gotta do it. And then his sister had cancer and died. And so it's kind of that's how it all kind of developed. And Steve and I just hit it off personally. We gained a lot of each other's trust. He bounced ideas off me from my background of raising capital for True Velocity. I helped them, do that here in Invicta. So I earned their trust, and then they invited me to come on board last year. And I really didn't make the full jump until June 1st this year.
Excellent. Man, good
So
story.
So for folks that don't know, I mean, PFAS has been around for a long time, right? And fire retardant foams. It's any of your anti-stick pans. If you remember back to the days where we had the anti-stick pans, that was all PFAS related. It's in everything Gore-Tex. It's in the clothes you wear, probably in some of the hunting clothes you wear, Mark, contained PFAS in them. And so, it really didn't come to the light in the state of Illinois until they started doing some investigations around the state and found out that it was present in a lot of the wells, some of the streams and rivers. And so then they started tracing it back. It does go to military bases, fire training centers, and industry. So your companies that are producing PFAS material. So when you look at, maybe start off by talking about your process of removal.
Yeah, how we're different is so there's other technologies, the GAC system, reverse osmosis, some of those things, ion exchange. They all have their purpose and they all work to some degree. But the forever chemical that got its name for a reason, right? All those other systems are really doing is maybe cleaning the water that you're drinking or they're using. They're discharging it back. In the case of reverse osmosis, up 20% going back into the system. With the carbon systems, they're hauling it to different places to be incinerated, put in landfills. It potentially ends up right back in the water system again. We're just kind of recycling it. So we've kind of come up with this forever no more. Instead of forever chemicals, it's forever no more in our system. And kind of get into that is, we strip the PFAS out of the water, we enrich it, then we destroy it. There is no waste. And that's the hard thing for people say there has to be waste. Well, there isn't. We break that carbon fluorine bond down. It's one of the top 3 strongest bonds in chemistry. We break that down in our final destruction phase, and you end up with a few breaths of carbon dioxide and some fluoric acid in very, very nano amounts that's, irrelevant to the environment or anybody. Essentially, it doesn't matter if we're talking 100 gallons a day or 100 million gallons a day. We take that down to a gallon or so of concentrated PFAS and we destroy it. The fluent's coming out is it's 100% non-detect. And we have proof of that. It's not something we're talking about. This is not a lab experiment. This is something we're doing now in several different communities around the Southeast, especially the Carolinas. That's where we're started. So North Carolina, South Carolina, we got 2 industrial sites doing a million gallons a day. They're going to start the system sometime first quarter of 26. They're getting all their stuff ready that they need to do. But we can be up and running. We were just on a news television down in North Carolina. Somebody, and I don't know, it might have been Jason through some of your talks, but we end up getting a call today from a gentleman in northern Massachusetts, right on the Maine border. 300,000 gallons a day, and the GAC system that they were quoted is $20 million for 300,000 gallons a day. We know we can do that for 10 times less than that and not have any true operating costs relative to the GAC system. So it almost sounds too good to be true.
I know.
Or like it really does. But once you see it in action, like North Carolina, town of Cary, North Carolina, they're running a system right now. We're pulling water right out of the lake with all the organics, everything you can imagine in there, and our system works. Now, we're starting to have a few more issues now just because of lines getting dunked up with sludge and, all the different things, especially with all the storms we've had down there. But, we're never going to do that again, but we wanted to prove that we can do it in the absolute worst conditions.
And yeah, that was a question I had actually towards the end. Once we started talking about water, actually, I was going to mention wastewater. This isn't just the water industry, the drinking water side that's affected. It also affects the wastewater side. And, being in charge of a municipality, what we're seeing is to dispose of that waste. We're seeing a lot of farmers now that are pulling away from land application, anything that they would be responsible for, because it's the forever chemical, like you said, and it just keeps recycling. It goes into the ground, then the grass grows, the cows eat the grass, so on and so forth. It's just a vicious cycle. So have you worked on the wastewater side? I can go ahead and ask that question now instead at the end.
Yeah, we are working on that now. We're several different projects in the works, but the wastewater from us, from a market standpoint, is bigger than the drinking water side.
Yeah.
So we are very much attuned to the wastewater side.
So I also checked it out on your website on Invicta, and you've got some videos posted on your website of the process. And I was really interested in that process of, it looks like it's, just a series of tanks where you're pulling out the PFAS, concentrating it, and then sending it through your, technology there that would be exclusive to you guys. And then it returns the water back, but it's completely destroying. If you think of PFAS as being a chain, it completely breaks all the links of the chain up.
Correct. There's a hydrophobic and a hydrophilic side of a PFAS chain, right? And so what we do that's different is, so in a series of tanks, we're using foam fractionation, which has been used in, mainly the aquarium industry.
And can you maybe explain foam fractionation a little bit?
Yes. So how it benefits us is that we introduce the water to a bunch of bubbles, a bunch of micro bubbles, and because I mentioned all PFAS polymer chains they are hydrophobic, hydrophilic. So one side hates water, the other side, it loves oxygen, right? So what we see is the tail likes oxygen, repels water. So when we introduce all those bubbles, that tail will attach to the bubble. It's actually inside there in the air pocket. And what it does, it floats it to the surface. So the largest foam fractionation system in the world is the ocean. If you go and look at the beach, you see all that foam and the waves break tested 60,000 parts per trillion for PFAS in the North Carolina coast. So it's there. So that's what we're doing. We're concentrating that. And when we get to the top of the tank, we have a foamate line that takes that foam from one tank down towards the destruction side, and the fourth tank, third tank, so on and so forth. And you get to the fifth tank, we're getting all the short chains. By then, there's nothing left. It's redundancy. We probably don't even need the fourth and fifth tank, but we do that just as a precaution. The long chains, they're oxygen hogs. They take up that first series. We're getting most of the long chains, and then as we go down, we get the shorter chain. And what we're finding out, and there's a slide in here that's really interesting in this town of Cary. You guys go back to the project details. I think it's page, it's not numbered here. Project details, town of Cary, North Carolina, where it shows it's page 10. So if you look at that first influent box, that is what the town of Cary, North Carolina sets in their water based on independent lab getting the test. So it's a total of about 39.8 nanograms per liter. So when we tested after the stripping phase, look how many more we found. And then we got it to 3,400 parts, nanograms per liter. And then when we get to the enrichment side, before the destruction side, we have that concentrated to 60,000. And we identified about 20 some more PFAS materials than they even knew was in there. And some of those are precursors.
And
So
most of your states are only recognizing what, 11? Isn't it like 11 PFAS?
Right.
Yeah.
But what we're telling people is, and our process doesn't matter. It's not like we can say just do these, right? We're getting it all. Just to show you the efficiency of what we're doing. You're doing it for whatever the EPA says now, but in theory, no matter what they bring on in the future, you've already accomplished your mission.
So now, Mark, there isn't like a canister you're taking out of a tank that's full of PFAS. And, what you're doing is you're just evaporating it. Yeah. So it's all the chemicals that were in the PFAS are staying in the water and they're just not attached anymore. Is that essentially it?
Yeah, that carbon fluorine bond is broken, so it's no longer a PFAS material. It is carbon dioxide, because that carbon then attaches to the free oxygen molecule and becomes carbon dioxide. And then the fluorine also will attach to another molecule, and it becomes usually a fluoric acid. But in such small quantities, it's like I said, it's like in 1 million gallons a day, you're talking 4 or 5 human breaths of carbon dioxide. So it's irrelevant. And we never, ever, there's nothing ever released ever. And it's continuous. And
So like the plants down in the Carolinas that you're working with, did you guys have to go through permitting? Because, you and I have talked about Illinois. In Illinois, you have to do pilots and everything to get this as a treatment process. What's your overall goals to try to move this out of just the Carolinas?
well, it's organic. We have people from all over the country contacting us. It's not going to be a push type of thing. It'll be a pull. We'll go wherever the market pulls us to, because there's so much business out there. We're not going to fight the state of Illinois or any other states that make it really difficult, because there's so many other places that are a lot less troublesome when it comes to getting these things done. We are actually, one of the projects was funded by the state of North Carolina. We're doing a retention ponds, and there's like 100 acres by the Neuse River that can't remember what plant was there prior, but all the retention ponds have significant PFAS contamination, and they can't do anything with it until they're cleaned up. So state of North Carolina is giving us, the owners, a grant. So we're going to be starting that project very soon. So we're going to take the water out, but pump it into the river, clean, and we'll get down to the silt and sediment. And there's another company that can, clean that from there. So we're taking a property that's worth nothing right now and probably worth $100 to $200 million in development because of where it's located.
So, Mark, what you're saying that, correct me if I heard you wrong. You're saying that there's unnecessary regulation and large amounts of red tape in Illinois that you can't get through. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't even tried. So I'm like,
all right, you better watch. You better watch what you say. I don't know.
Surprise there. Surprise. But if the people understand, and if the people in the EPA and the different industries understand what we're doing, on nitrite, it's as a nerd as it comes. So we're not adducing anything to the water, and the boron nitrite nanotubes don't go anywhere. So we're not, besides some light, and we're not adding anything to the water. Zero.
Right.
All we're doing is removing PFAS. So if they just get to the basics understanding, there is no risk of us contaminating someone. Just because it's just,
Well, you are adding things to the water. You're adding oxygen, right? Through the
Yeah.
foaming process. That's what you're adding.
well, we're at,
I mean, you're introducing more oxygen for that bond to start breaking down, right?
yeah, we're adding oxygen bubbles, but it floats to the top, and then
Yeah. No, I understand, but
Spouse.
I mean, just it
I
has.
don't think it's killed anybody lately.
No. I'm just saying you're adding something to the water, and that's oxygen. And if somebody has a problem with you adding oxygen to water, then there's more problems than you need to
Yeah,
deal with.
especially
And just keep
Yeah,
moving on.
especially when it's already in water.
Yeah, since it is water, right? Well,
So, Mark, you talked about boron tubes. What in the process? What are they actually doing? These boron tubes.
So okay, so the boron nitrite nanotubes, and this is, we're going to start getting a little more techy here. So in our destruction phase, we get the concentrations very high in the small volume of water, and then we have the super concentration of PFAS. We have boron nitrite nanotubes. We have about 5 football fields of surface area in this little container of water. One sugar packet of boron nitrite nanotubes has the same surface area as 2 or 3 football fields. Hard to comprehend.
Right.
So, but you think of a nanotube, it's a perfect cylinder, okay? And they've known about nanotubes. I mean, NASA, the boron nitride nanotube was discovered, don't hold me to this, but in the late 90s, early 2000s. The NASA came and talked to us and told Steve and Jason, well, you know, how do you do it? You guys couldn't have done this. So we've not been able to figure it out. And like, well, we did. We figured it out. And because right now they take boron and using ball mills, literally, and if they crush it enough through enough time, you'll get some nanotubes. But they're going to be, the structure isn't good. They're imperfect. There's a huge amount of waste. So if you look on boron nitrite nanotubes online, you want to buy some, they're thousands of dollars per gram. Okay. And the quality isn't very good. And if they're perfectly cylinder, they talk about there's no straight lines in nature. Well, there is in a nanotube. It's all perfect hexagonal shape. And if you imagine just a hexagon stacked up on top of each other, that's kind of what a nanotube looks like. Well, what sets us apart is we've created a nanotube that's, if you had rock candy on a stick, okay, we've created rock candy nanotube. Okay, so enormous amount of surface area. Instead of being smooth, now you have all these little micro jagged edges completely around it. So we'll get to that in a second. So that's in the water, and there's quadrillions of those things floating around in there, along with the PFAS. Now we excite those nanotubes, and these boron nitride nanotubes is like a semiconductor. So when we energize it with UV light, those nanotubes emit electrons and holes. When it does that, because they're so close, like a shotgun, get a lot, but it doesn't go very far compared to a rifle, right? So our nanotubes are emitting this energy in these little short areas. And what that does is, and I'm not a material science, but when it excites that energy electron will create then like ozone or some other chemistry that then will attack that bond, that carbon fluorine bond, its ability to break it apart. So it pulls that carbon bond off there, right? And that fluorine, now it's exposed, now it's weaker. So it's like taking grapes and plucking it off the little vine, right? So that's what we're doing, that cluster. So now then you get that carbon immediately grabs that oxygen molecule that's free.
Oh, so Mark, that's so the way you're describing this story is, I mean, I can see it. So I mean, that's you're doing great. I mean, I can see what you're trying to explain and how you're picking that apart, and those little nanotubes are kind of like the hands, and they're going in and picking off these grapes off the vine and trying to break it up as fast as possible. And obviously there's more nanotubes than there is PFAS in the water, correct? I mean, that's how it attacks it.
Yeah, and what we do, if you look at that picture in that illustration that we just had up a second ago.
There you go.
Okay. So in chemistry and in anything, it's the first 80-90% of whatever you're doing is usually easy. It's the last 10% that gets really critical, really hard, right? So if you see it goes from the stripping phase into the enriching side, then you see that arrow that comes down into the destruction, right? And then you see that black line goes back up into the enriching again. And then also it's covered up by the one green box. But if you look at the enriching, there's a pipe that comes off the top. It says stripping on it, goes back down to there's another pipe that comes down here. So what it's doing is it's a closed loop system. So any PFAS that we enrich goes into destruction. Whatever doesn't get destroyed goes back in the enrichment side. So it's a constant loop. So we don't want to try to get 100% of it because it takes too long and it's not very efficient. So what we're doing is we're keeping the concentration in the destruction super high because our process is very efficient when you have a high volume of PFAS. So it just continues to this loop. So the PFAS never leaves the destruction and the enrichment side.
So when we first started talking, Mark, I'm not going to lie, I was like, this all sounds way too good to be true. Like here as a municipal, as a superintendent of a municipal, I'm looking at all the struggles that we're facing with eliminating PFAS on both water and wastewater side. And I'm thinking, this just sounds way too easy. And to watch the video, I mean, right now you're doing it, your pilot programs are done out of basically a storage container. So the footprint is relatively small too.
Oh, it's extremely small. I mean, you're talking GAC systems, you're talking, you know, Olympic swimming pools 3 stories deep, right?
Yeah.
And we can do in one container, if we do it, there's a high container, that's almost like 2 of them stacked together, we can do 1 million gallons a day in that by 8 foot by 40 feet.
And do you foresee in the future then by being able to add different what do I say, different containers, then you can treat more water as you add, so it'd be kind of like an add-on as you grow or can you add more containers or
Oh yeah.
how does that work?
Yeah, we can. I mean, let's face it, if you're a city like Dallas or Chicago or somewhere, you're going to have a building, right? More than likely. So we can design it however you need it. That's the beauty of what we're doing. We can put them in a row, we can stack them up. We can do L shape. We can make a U around the edge of your property. It's really just up to the engineers on how we want to lay it out and how we get the water in and out, right? So that's really what it boils down to.
What do most engineers say when you tell them about this? I mean, because when I say new, like you guys have been working on what since what year 23 or you said maybe 23. So I mean, it's new technology, 2 years old. So
Yeah, they don't
how
like
do
it
people react? Yeah,
because let's face it, you're talking $100 million, $200 million GAC systems that we can go in and do for 30-40% of that with very little ongoing operating costs relative to what they have to do.
yeah, that was going to be a question too. Oops. Sorry, Chad, were you going to talk there?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, well, how long for implementation? I mean, if somebody called you today, how and they said let's move on it. How fast can you get set up? And
We can probably get set up faster than they can get their site ready. So as far as like once they say, okay, we want to do this many gallons, and okay, all we need to know is where's the water coming in and where's it need to go out at, right? And then we can have it. I mean, a big system, it depends on the size, right? If you said, 1 million gallons a day, we could be ready in, 6 weeks.
What are the long?
Well, are they big steel tanks or what? How are the tanks constructed?
They're high density polyethylene.
Okay, so it's they're easy to move. Okay.
What kind of long-term costs are associated with this, Mark? With any project, you can say, oh, we're going to save money on the front side, but long-term, what kind of cost are you looking at, like long-term, whether it be maintenance, replacement? What kind of costs are these?
Magnitudes less than the current system. I mean, there's very, very little ongoing maintenance relative to all the other ones. I have a slide here that addresses that exact thing. I think we're like 3 cents a gallon, really a penny and a half. I mean, and then compared to 12 cents for GAC, and operating per gallon is less than 3 cents, compared to what we've come up with around 12 cents for the GAC system. And 10 or so for ion exchange, and same with reverse osmosis.
Yeah, and I could see how this would be a little bit of a uh, shock. I'm not going to say shock, but engineers, I can see them not wanting to support this because these engineers are looking at building whole new processes in some cases for these municipalities to remove PFAS 20-30 million dollars, for the
That'd be
building and a GAC system. And then not only that, but you have that long-term maintenance cost of removal of your media.
And we think that's going to be classified as hazardous material. So the cost of transporting that's going to be going up. So we've had, but I'm not going to mention names, but we had a community that originally 50 million, then 75. Now they think it's over 100 million for their budget. Well, they heard about us, they heard us speak, and they put the project on hold. And the city manager, they brought two people up to come see our project in Cary, and they didn't tell us, but they brought their engineering firm with them. And he's saying it doesn't work. This doesn't work. This is, it's because they're so upset that they're losing a 80 or $100 million project, right? They don't want to
Sorry.
face the fact that, we're the iPhone and you guys are the BlackBerry, and we're going to win over time. It doesn't matter. And we're even right now, there's some places that they're going with RO. And we have a project in Georgia that I believe that we'll get next spring that there'll be 3 million gallons a day, and it's all the wastewater.
So what do you see as Invicta? What's the long term here? Just trying to find. I mean, I'm sure you already got manufacturing set up, right? How do you try to? Are you going to try to get it on board with somebody to promote this, to push it out there? Like a sales rep company. Are you the company that is going to be?
We feel we're going to be coming out with a friend of mine that does television production. They've done just extraordinary things, Super Bowl commercials, National Geographic type of work. They're putting together a video for us. It was extremely well done, Hollywood type of stuff that we feel that organically we already, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of opportunity come to us just through word of mouth. We've been at the Pentagon twice. We are starting, we hopefully, we're going to be doing some AFFF foam in Vicksburg, Mississippi for the Army in October. So we should have that contract in the next 2 weeks. We do that and prove that, then, we're going to be knee deep in the DOD with all their military sites.
So you guys building factories? So, I mean, because I'm telling you, PFAS is huge. And I'm sure you are well aware of that, or you wouldn't have you wouldn't have invested in this. But I mean, are you guys able to ramp up quickly like that? Because I really do think that once people understand this and see this, I mean, I'm trying to rack my brain trying to figure out what's the disadvantage, but I don't.
There isn't one. There isn't one. You can try all you want. There isn't one. I before I made the leap, and there just isn't. It's just a better mousetrap that's better for everybody. It's a win-win-win. There's not a downside to it. You can't point to a downside besides unless you're an engineering company invested in GAC. Other than that,
Yeah.
There just isn't. And there's still, if the engineering companies would befriend us, and some of them see, but some of them aren't, right? So start designing our system, start telling your customers about what we're doing, and that's really this. It's a benefit for the people. Forget about everything else. We all deserve clean water, right? And there's more and more coming out about all the dangers of what's going on with PFAS, and it's a big problem. I mean, as again,
For sure.
Steve sister died of cancer. So
Yeah, and people and the people that don't know what their ailment is or what's causing this or whatever. I mean, there's so many other stories out there that we haven't heard from the impacts of PFAS, and it's just not an American problem. I mean, this is everywhere. I mean, the opportunity is endless. So, and then plus with your lightweight tanks, your cheaper option, I don't see how this doesn't go everywhere, but that's just me. So I'm in.
well, here's the thing we haven't talked about that the government asks us: how much energy does it take to run our system, right?
Sure, yeah.
Well, we have a 240 system ran to the Cary, North Carolina, and it's only 40 amps, and half the energy is used by the air conditioning, heating air just to keep the thing cool. So the air conditioner uses more as much as the system running the water is doing 200 or 300,000 gallons a day. So it's all we're essentially like our small systems. Like let's say you had a is doing a couple 100,000 gallons a day, you could plug it into 110 outlet and it'll treat the water. So with no pressure, no heat, and all we're using are some pumps to move some water. That's it.
I might be getting ahead of ourselves here because we're just talking about drinking water. But have you considered or are considering putting this in like rivers, or is that possible to redirect the water and run it through a system, or is that not, or like a dam type of system, or is that not possible yet, or haven't
I don't
thought of it?
Yeah, we've thought about just let's say that there's some man-made lakes that are contaminated. I mean, there's definitely been thoughts of just placing these in different parts and just pumping it in and pumping it back out, right? Because it's just over
On a
time,
truck,
yeah, just
roll
a
up a truck and do it.
continuous loop, right? Because they run. There's no real maintenance. But yeah, we've we've talked about that. Obviously, that's something down the road that as we get better, what we do and our efficiencies get better. That's anything's possible. I think.
Well, I know in 2026, I know industry is going to be limited on using PFAS. So currently, believe it or not, they're still able to use PFAS material. I think it's in 2026 that's all going to be have to be eliminated. You're looking in the industry side, correct? Also,
We got a couple they're not pilots, they're actual projects that will say first of the year. We'll be doing over 1 million, 2 million gallons a day in each one.
what's your goals? What's kind of short term and long term goals for you guys, Mark?
Well, the short term goal is to get as many of these. We want to get an industrial site, these retention pond site, the municipality, which we're working on those, a wastewater, and then within that it could be in front of a GAC system, so it lasts longer. We could take the PFAS out before, so you don't have that issue to deal with, right? And then the short term is to get this DoD contract, and we hopefully by spring, first, second quarter next year, we hope to be one preferred methods for PFAS by the EPA.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Wow.
You're not hiring, are you? Keep my resume, a couple years.
Yeah, is there?
Need some good
I'll
operators.
ask for a friend. Is there an email we could send resumes to or anything?
I'm telling you, when I first started talking to you, I was ready to invest my retirement because I'm telling you, there's such a need in the water industry. Like I said, I've searched, I've looked at all the information, and it's like I can't believe somebody that we've missed it. Like, why did it take us till 2023 to do this? Is there something? Was there a missing piece, Mark, in this that all of a sudden in 23 you guys are like, oh, there it is?
Well, people still say we can't do what we're doing. So if you talk to the
Yeah.
scientists, so I mean, there's more to it. We have, patent, we have trade secrets and different things like that. But we're doing what they said couldn't be done. But we have proof. It's like the Pepsi challenge. Give us your PFAS water. We guarantee it to be non-detect when we give it back to you. And you can put it in there. And we literally, and one of my ideas for trade shows is to we can have a miniature system and literally have you bring PFAS and we'll put it in there and take it out and you take your sample and go test it when you're done. And, it'll be non-detect right in front of you.
Better than a Brita, huh?
Yeah. And that's one of our other goals is, we want to have a home unit, a couple different options for a home unit as well.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people in rural America may or may not, they've been on a well, been using a well all their life and probably never had it tested, but could have PFAS in it. And so just like the UV units that were very popular with rural homes, I can see these units being very popular if you can get it sized down to home use.
And I think that, we see right now the demand for them is coming from people that live in higher end, people living in suburbs because they're maybe more aware of PFAS and they, maybe more concerned about it, than some rural.
Mhm.
You're right, but we want that option. If you want to have clean water, for a couple grand or 2,500, whatever that ends up being, that you can have this system in your home, making sure you have clean
Yeah.
phosphoric drinking water.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any closing questions, Chad?
No, I mean, I think let's just let it lie there, because this is a lot to digest, and for people to figure out that this is even possible. Because just even 3 years ago or yesterday, people were like, "This isn't possible. You can't do that." And this is proven to be totally wrong. And whoever they are can go pound salt, because they are wrong.
Yeah. So, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you, Mark?
You just
If
do my
they're interested.
email, mark.beck@invictawater.com.
Okay. And they can also check out your process at invictawater.com, correct?
Correct. And, we welcome people. We have visitors weekly to see what we're doing. You can actually come and see the process work. We've had hundreds of businesses, municipalities, engineering companies, watching our them in Cary, North Carolina.
We might have to put Keeping the Flow on the road, Chad.
Yeah.
Get us some kind of bus or something and travel cross country to check it out.
Instead of the Oscar Mayer wiener, we'll have a big hydrant with wheels.
Oh, there you go.
And this is really, guys, we're working on a mobile unit. So we're going to have a mobile unit that we'll be able to drive with a generator. And let's say, for example, a fire station, we want to clean the fire trucks, or, with the foam, we can run water through there and clean their trucks out, right? Or anybody that has AFFF foam that they don't know what to do with, an industrial site that has, some contaminated pond, we're going to be able to do that. So we're going to have those mobile units out treating, batch type of material.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, the possibilities are endless. That's amazing. I love it. It's just good
This
stuff.
is great. And I've so enjoyed talking to you, Mark, as I had our pre-conversations. It's great learning about this. I think it's awesome that you guys have taken a problem and found a solution for it. Now you're trying to market that solution. So, I'm going to do my best to try to help market what you guys got out there. And again, thanks for being on the show.
Well, we appreciate it. This is what it's all about. And, we're going to have this, when we get this video done, it's going to be extremely, extremely well done, and can't wait to get it out. And I'll get it to you guys so you can, show your audience, send it to your customers, or, whoever you're watching. It's going to be great. And it's going to save us a lot of time trying to explain it. We're going to be able to explain it in a way that people can digest it at their own pace. Video. We're super excited.
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the journey as well. So we'll definitely have to have you back on, and in a couple months or a year or something, and just say what's a progress report, how's things coming along. But no, I'm definitely going to follow the story and keep up with it. This is really good stuff, and it's not just good. It's super, super important. We're talking about everybody's health and things that cannot be controlled. Some people just drinking their water and not realizing that there could be some underlying problems or issues, and just minding their own business. And then now there's a solution for that. So that's amazing. I love it. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, like microwave popcorn. I never realized I'll never eat microwave popcorn.
No, right. I threw away my pans, and I have ceramic pans.
Now I'm like the PFAS Nazi out there. I'm just like,
right.
Don't waterproof anything. You got skin. Don't worry about it.
That's right. Well, guys, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Great to meet you, Chad. Jason, good talking to you again. And you
Thanks,
guys,
Mark.
Yes.
Jason, you have my number. Give it to Chad. You guys, I'm 24/7. I'm available. It doesn't matter. Call me anytime.
And same goes. You've got my number. And if you ever need, have some questions on the municipal side, certainly reach out. I can help there. Or if you need some help from keeping the flow, getting some message out there, we can certainly help on that end too. So thanks again.
Thanks, guys.